Yes, that's it. Yeah, please, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. How's been a
Afternoon to
week
you.
and
Very well.
happy weekend.
Yep. Happy weekend to
Uh,
you.
we thank God for the grace given unto us once again. This time last month, uh, we were here. We were here discussing, and it was something. It was something that even without our speaker, it was something that really shaped our mind because different things comes up. We shared our mind, and then uh, it was interesting because I really gained a lot. I gained a lot. I gained a lot. And
Yeah, which is also nice.
yeah, and then looking back, I would say at least I have something foundational about the work life balance part. And then that session, I think it will be a stepping a stepping knowledge to this very day, to the one we be experiencing today once again, where our speaker will be sharing and talking with us. And okay, we have about 7 people that have joined, and let me take a look. Let us take a look at what we discussed in our last session. Let's take a look at what we discussed in our last session. Um, during the course of the program, uh, there are some things we mentioned about work balance that I would like us to still take note. I would like us to still take note, which are when we want to balance our work. Number one aspect of it is the communication aspect. Is the communication aspect. That is, we should have a clear communication with whoever we are with. That is a clear relationship with our spouse, children, family, and God. And God. So when we have a clear communication, it tells us to create a clear commitment. Yeah, that is, it brings us to a hierarchy of commitments to what is important and how to bridge the gaps. And then another thing is also communicate our limitations. Another thing is to communicate our communications. Um, sorry about that. Is to communicate our limitations and reasons. For example, if we can't complete a task at a particular given period, or we promise somebody to call them or that, we should explain why. We should explain why. That is, we should there should not be a yes or no person all the times when we talk to people, or when we make our communications with people. That they should also let us we should also let them understand our uh, weaknesses, like this, our maybe our limitations. Yes. And then another thing is to be an open book. We should understand our constraints, and then we should clearly set KPIs for different life areas to ensure that we are meeting responsibility. Then another one is be intentional about our time and energy. Uh, we shouldn't spend ourselves too thin. The next one, we should recognize when we need to protect our mental health. I think I made mentions of something like this, related to something like this. We should make we should recognize when to protect our mental health. That we should not be a no or yes person. That is, So there are times that in trying to bridge a communication, in trying to communicate with people, and then trying to not to disappoint people, maybe in our life, in our work to life balance, there are times that we just have to, we say, okay, yes, yes. So there should be a time that, okay, this thing won't work out. And then this place only comes out from the place of open book, because if you are not open with people, most people sometimes, there are some people, there are different perspectives to which people judge. So that some people that quickly judge, they just be like, he's a proud person. That's what I used to do. I have known that that's what he will say. So that also comes from the place of open book. Then, so we should inform our colleagues or family if you will not be unavailable to meet commitment. Yes, when we try to protect, it's also part of when we try to protect our mental health. We should try to inform them when we will not be meeting a particular commitment. And then 8, we should regularly assess it and adjust our priorities to maintain balance. To maintain balance. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope we are with me, sirs. Hello.
Yes. Yes, we are with you.
Okay, sir. Going further, without taking much of our time, I will introduce our speaker. I will introduce our speaker, and so that I can take the floor. Okay. You are welcome, Mr. Olusola Opaleye, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Uh, our speaker is a Nigerian professional. Is a Nigerian professional, and then he's born in Agege, Lagos State. Uh, he's a graduate of Yaba College of Technology, and then he's completing his MBA in the National Open University of Nigeria. He's a certified data protection privacy manager, as he serves as the principal identity officer with the Nigeria's National Identity Management Company. So, and then a quick fact about our speaker: he co-authored Wisdom for Young Men with Dr. Emmanuel Dansu. So he's not just a seasoned professional alone. He's also a seasoned mentor. Yes, let me put it like that. He's also a seasoned mentor committed to mentoring young people, drawing from his own experience since overcoming challenges. And he also co-authored Gaining a Full Grasp of Life Journey, offering guidance on personal development and career, relationship, and purposeful living. Uh, you are welcome, Mr. Olusola, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Am I supposed to start now?
Yes, sir. You can start, sir.
All right. I would like to appreciate our mentor, the convener of the Real Boys Forum. It's been a journey. It's been a wonderful one. I'm so excited that I am part of this group. Sometimes it's not just that we meant that, some people are mentoring us. It's a platform where all of us learn. And I really want to appreciate Paul for the privilege to be part of the group, and for the privilege to also be doing this afternoon. I want to welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us at this time. So we'll be discussing the art of work-life balance. There's something I would like to quickly do. I would like to share a small story about myself. So this topic is something that is very, 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 very important to me, because I think I would say that I have been a victim of imbalance between work and life. So there's something for everybody that maybe you can just zoom into the camera so that you can look at my hair. You see some patches of white hair all over the place. in the journey of life, some of us have scars. Some of them will just be they will be our like a souvenir, yeah, something that you can use like a parcel, a gift, something that you have to show that, oh, if you are not just sharing a story, you are sharing a life story, you are sharing an experience. And that's why it's good to have mentors, because mentors will show you what they have been through, and then we can avoid yes, we can avoid those experiences. Sometimes in 2019, yes, 2019. Can we all hear me, please? I would like to be sure that I'm not speaking to myself.
Yes, sir. We can, sir.
All right. Okay. So sometimes 2019, yes, we had our second child, and around that time was the time there was a course I was doing. I was doing a particular course that was taking me through the night. It was also around that period that my wife gave birth to her second child, yes. And then it was around that time too that we're trying to complete our building. We're building. So I was the what they call it, project supervisor, site supervisor. When you are trying to, it was our first house. So when you are trying to manage resources and make sure that, and the way Nigeria can be, manage life. And so my wife too was working. And so 2019, we're crossing to 2020. This where it gets very, very funny. 2020 was the year that was supposed to be lockdown. Yes, it was supposed to be lockdown. So lockdown means we are all supposed to be sitting down at home and resting. But I was in a lot of things. I was, like I said, I was doing a course, and it was the only time I knew I could actually do that thing was actually in the night. Yes, that was the time I had a lot of time to do it. My wife was working. She still working. She still works at the bank. And so even though there was lockdown, people that were working in the bank were considered essential workers. So which means that they were going to work. And then we had a baby. Yes, we had a baby. The baby was barely, during that COVID-19, she was barely 6 months or thereabout. And so there were quite a number of things that so my inability to be able to decisively manage my work and time. This is what I showed you. Normally, I could have barbed the hair. I intentionally, or there's a cream I normally rub, to maintain the steeze. It's not like I'm an elderly man. No. It is this year I'm going to be 40. I'm going to be 40 October 31st. So it's not like I am one elderly man. But so although sometimes the white hair has given me some privileges. I mean, I don't send. So there are places I go to. Oh, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, sir. People prostrate, and even sometimes when I'm driving, and maybe all these police people want to, I will just park. I'll say, oh, raise my head up, form eldership, and wave at them, and then I go my way. So I've seen something good about it, and I really don't care, because it does not define me. It does not define me. So many times I know my wife will say, remove this thing. Sometimes I just leave this thing, Jare, just leave it. It is not me. You understand? But although I know that somehow, my mom, when I was younger, I know that my mom has gray hair, but I know that season of my life um, contributed to the multiplication. Boom. It is there. It is there. What do we do? That's life. So we just move on. So I feel that if there's anybody that should be able to talk about this, I have a mark, like Paul says, let no man top me, if I bear on my body the mark of Christ. So I think I have the mark of the imbalance in work life to be able to, I speak as an authority as far as this topic is concerned. And I trust God that be able to see insight in the things I'm going to say. Let me say also that it is not like it is something that is new. I'm not bringing new theory. It's not something new. It's something that we know. I even listened to our conversation last month, and it was a very interesting conversation. I even learned some things too. So it's I'm only going to be rephrasing, saying what some of the things that we have said, saying them again, and then adding my own perspective to it. And I think that we can all now understand what this thing is about, and we can all run with it. Like I said when I started, everything we do on real life boss, I don't come to the place as an authority. I come to learn. So sometimes I also look at some of the things we discuss, and I'll say, wow, this is another perspective to it. So that's what I would say that RBF is, and I would like that all of us will see it like that. So let's just get started. So I said the sweet spot of work life harmony. So we are talking
Wait,
about
permission to interrupt. The first lady is in
okay,
the house, and we really appreciate her
yeah,
presence.
yeah. My wife is in the building. Thank you for joining, my jewel. I appreciate.
Okay,
God
thank you,
bless you,
sir.
ma'am.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Professor Emmanuel. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
It's my privilege.
we don't usually have women in our midst. So anytime we have one, we are always excited. Our energy is high.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you,
so so I'm
everyone.
not
Thank
I'm
Thank you,
not
ma'am.
nervous again. I'm
Yes,
not
I can.
anxious again. So even if
Yeah,
I'm
we have
saying
support.
rubbish, there's somebody that I know will be nodding her head that it is correct. It is
Even
correct.
me, I will join her to nod.
So so there's a perspective I want us to look at as we discuss this work-life balance. So I want us to look at, even though yes, I put life. I want us to look at that life as the L as a small letter. Yes. The L as a small letter. I didn't do that. I'm supposed to do it. I guess I got carried away. Because um we cannot separate work from life. That's as a whole. Capital LIFE. But the life we are talking about, the balance we are talking about is the small LIFE. Because if you go to work, some people go to work for say 8 to 4. That's about 8 hours. Some people 6 to 12. Some people do about 12 hours at work. So you cannot now say that it is not a life. It is also a life. I don't know if you understand. So what we are trying to do this evening is to look at work as a part of the whole life. That's capital LIFE. And then life, the normal small LIFE, as the part that talked about our personal relationship and self-care. The one that talk about you outside of the work you do to make money. In fact, as a matter of fact, there are some people that there are some people that the things that they consider personal to them, they make money from it. Some people, if somebody may say, I'm a pastor, is my purpose, so it's not work. But that is where they earn a living. So this evening, what I want to quickly do is I want to quickly make a case for work. Yes, I want to make a case for work. You see, it is very possible that when people talk about life, work-life balance, there's an anger that people tend to have to work. It is this work thing, work. People are angry with work. But the truth is that work is an essential part of life. You see, you cannot do without work. We can't do without work. A lot of people even get their identity from work, even though they don't even like the work. So if you say somebody is a doctor, so if you ask somebody just casually, what do you do or who are you? The person will just casually say, I'm a doctor, even if the person does not even like the work, even if the person does not even like the pay, even if the person could drop his resignation letter if he sees an alternative tomorrow, that individual will unconsciously just say, I'm a doctor. So you see that from your work, there is there is the case of identity. You derive your identity from work. Some people, it is their personal purpose. So if somebody is a pastor and say, oh, I'm a missionary, and it is from that mission work that the person gets resources to feed, to clothe, his housing, to feed the children. You see, it is, even though it is the person's purpose, but it is also the person's work. So we cannot remove a man from his work. It is very difficult to remove a man from his work. It is like the case of spirit and soul. You can't say you remove the spirit and say you want the soul to be present, you want the soul to still be functional, or you remove the soul and you expect the spirit to be functional. The work and life, they work together. In fact, people so many times they don't know, and that's what we are trying to talk about, balance. That's why we are talking about balance. But balance does not mean getting angry with work. Balance does not mean forgetting about work. Balance does not mean looking for an alternative to work. Balance does not mean finding a way to erase work. In fact, one of the things I would like to stress as we go on is the fact that if we do our work well, we will be able to live our life well. If we maximize the strength in work, we will be able to maximize life. If we are able to understand the essence of work, we will be able to understand the essence of light. So in this place, work gives personal purpose. It helps to form people's identity. There are quite a number of people who don't even know what they want to do with their life. But the moment they get to start working, identity begins to form. The moment they start earning something, identity begins to form. There's also the issue of the fact that work gives you economic growth. Yes, apart from even for yourself, for life generally, because everybody go to work, because everybody contributes something by reason of their work, we can have an economic growth. We can have a nation. We can have people now work. So when they work, they pay tax. So when they pay tax, government uses the tax to repair roads, build hospitals, things that naturally you cannot do for yourself. So because there's no way, no matter how much of work you do or even you don't do, it is difficult for you on your own to repair your road. It is difficult on your own to say you want to just get a doctor to stay in a place and build your own hospital, keep the doctor there. It is difficult. But with work, we pay tax, and then with tax, those things are available in the society. It causes economic growth. Then there's the issue of societal stability. We know, even if you have purpose and you are burning with fire as a brother, the first thing they will ask you when you visit your in-law to be and you say, I have seen a flower in this garden, I would like to pluck. They will say, brother gardener, which work are you doing? And if you cannot point to the job, you cannot point to the work, nobody will take you serious. So in the society, without work, it appears like you have not started. And even you cannot even now go to the point where people even start asking you which job. Which job. People cannot even say how much is the pay. And I remember there was a time before I joined, when I was in service, I used to tell a lot of people that when I was in service, there was a prayer I prayed. Maybe it sounds funny because people will say, who will pray to work in a government organization? I prayed that God, the job I wanted was to work in government. That was the prayer I prayed when I was in service. But when I was in Lagos, before I got transferred to Abuja and I moved to Minna, I was working as a marketing official. Yes, in one company like that in Lagos. You see, anytime I mentioned, it was the name of the organization was very fine. avant-garde, or I think it's one whatever name like that. So anytime I tell anybody that is where I work, so they will ask me, what do you do there? So I'll say, wow, well, I am one of their regional medical representatives. The name was fine, but because people understand how marketing is in Lagos, there's the thinking that this guy has not started. I mean, I even remembered, my wife is here. I even remembered that when I came to Mina, I came all the way from Lagos so to come and tell them that to come and meet my wife. And I remember when she told them that this guy is working in one company in Lagos. There was I understand this thing. If I am I wrote an article the other time. I said that we judge our parents when we are as we go older, we begin to judge our parents, but later we understand their perspective and then we forgive them. So I understand why if I am a parent, so if the child tell me so, I'll say okay. So what does it do with the work? Da, 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 da. So that was the same. That was the same thing. But immediately I got an appointment with federal government. And that time my organization was under the presidency. My organization was under the presidency. Presently, we are under Ministry of Interior. So my ID card that time carries the presidency. So if you have a car, the number plate, the plate number of your car, if your car belongs to the government, or yes, you are driving an official car, the plate number will bear presidency, and it is respect on its own. So I know of plenty places that I will go to. So I'm just talking about work. Just give perspective to this thing called work. I know of places I will go to, and I will just show them my ID card, and maybe I will have seen the reaction before. And when I say presidency, they will just see the ID card or someone say presidency, and then although that's not actually the best way to behave, because you are not supposed to judge people by the place they work. But you see, people derive identity. If I don't understand myself, I could run with that. I could run on the fact that identity, presidency, and quite a number of people they run with such kind of a thing because their job is their identity. Because their job is who they are. Outside of their job, they are nothing else. Okay, that's this one I said now is not speaking in favor of job. So I'm talking about why job is important now. So I talked about societal stability. You become recognized in the society as long as you have a job, as long as you have a work, as long as you have something that puts food on your table. In fact, I know of a lot of people that you will just hear that they lost their job, and then 6 months they are gone. It is not that they don't have money. It's not that they don't see food. It's not as if they don't have family around them. They stop working, and suddenly they develop a particular type of sickness. So there is something that the job gives to you. There's a fuel that it feeds your spirit. You will know that when you wake up in the morning, you go somewhere. Now, the cultural, I think, is part of what I mentioned, cultural appreciation. Once you encourage a culture that values effort, yes, because you work, you have a sense of dedication. And that's why I was saying that work is important, because even in our life, once you have a job, there is a sense of responsibility. So if a brother wants to get married and is already working, there's a sense of responsibility. I wake up in the morning, I go out, I work. So at work, what do you do at work? Somebody gives you something to do, and then you go ahead and do it. There's a task that you accomplish, and then it gives you a sense of fulfillment, and then you return home. There is a rhythm to your life as compared to you just sit down at home. Even if angels, these days they say there's angelic alert. Even if angels drop money in your account every day, and you don't go out, you don't come in, You may even die. The person can even die. There's this. There are plenty cases of. There are plenty cases of people dying because you just sit down, you start living a sedentary life. You just eat. You don't do anything. You even person will just develop a stroke and then be useless to himself. But as you walk, you go and you come. You have a sense of responsibility. That sense of responsibility will rub off on your life. Because now that you get married, there's an expectation of you as a man. There's an expectation of you as a father, or when you eventually have a child. There's an expectation of you as a husband. There are tasks, there are things that husbands do. So you know that those are the things that you do. It rubs off. And essentially, people who work effectively, as in effectively, not that they overcarry the thing, effectively, they meet timelines, they do their work very well. It rubs up on the way they live at home too, because it means that if there are things to be done, if there's a leaky roof, if there's a fan that needs to be repaired, if there's an AC that is not working, if there's something, if there's a danger they can sense, because they already have that routine in their life. As they go to work, as they come back, it rubs off from them. Even at home, they go up, they stand up to do it. So you see that work itself is not bad. Work itself is not the problem. The problem is balance, and that's essentially what we are looking at. The problem is balance. And I've said that it is not work-life balance, that is capital L-I-F-E. It is work-life, I-L-I-F-E, because work is part of life. You cannot remove work from life. As long as a man is living, there's an expectation that a man should work. There's an expectation that a man should work. Work helps you health-wise. That's even outside all of these ones. Work puts food on the table. See, one of the things I've also realized is that work fuels. Okay, should I go to that place now? Let me see if I talked about it here. Yes, let me just mention it. Work fuels purpose. You see, one of the, if you look at what's the name of this person now? If you look, Bill Gates, for instance, you see, some of these wealthy guys, they get to a particular point in their life and they start starting a foundation. So here, Bill Gates Foundation, Dangote Foundation. There is what is able to make them to start a foundation is because they have worked. So the work is now the fuel for the purpose. Work will fuel your purpose, but in the work you will not find meaning. It is in purpose that you find meaning. I don't know if you get that. It is in purpose that we will find meaning, but you will need fuel for your purpose. If not, your purpose may not take off. So if you are still looking for food to eat, if you are still looking for clothes to wear, if you are still looking, if you have not been fulfilling in your career, you have not done something serious for people to look up to, you will not be able to start up in purpose. For instance, see our RBF group. Prof has model success. He has model success, but for him to be able to get to that place, there has been work. There has been a lot of work, and presently he is still working. He will not be able to run RBF if he decide that let me just bone work. He will need money to buy data. He will need money to buy data. If somebody wants to reach out to him and say, I need to talk to you, and he knows that he's somebody that is a mentor and he needs to mentor the person, There are times that you will need to use his own credit to make that call. So if he cannot make the call, so how will he be able to undo his purpose? Then how will he be able to find meaning? So with work, we fuel purpose. As a matter of fact, when we work effectively, we are able to be effective in our purpose. Because if you work well, if you are able to manage people well, if you are able to manage resources well while working, when purpose happens, you are able to manage. As a matter of fact, see, if you have seen a man shouting purpose, 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 shouting meaning, if the man has not been able to succeed at anything, whether at work, whether in his life or anything, please watch that man very well. So every time I talk to young people, I ask them, is it ministry or is it work? So if you tell me that it is ministry, I'll ask you, what have you done outside of school that you have really been able to succeed at? What have you really learned? Because if you have not learned to manage people, if you have not learned to manage resources, if you have not learned to manage work, manage stress, and then you say it is purpose, it is this, you run into it, that is when you see people shift away from the plan, from the goal. Then they begin to enter into things they are not supposed to enter into, because they have not even learned the discipline of work. They have not learned the discipline of work. Work on its own will require you stand up. You wake up even when you don't have to wake up. Work will require to spend, you use resources even when, to find a way to get resources even when it is not there. So a man that has successfully been able to deal with those things at work will be able to be successful. That person will be successful in purpose, successful in ministry, and then you can see that he will find meaning. Person will find meaning. So moving on, in this place you see that I said that there's a connection between fulfilling, achieving fulfillment, building connection, providing support, navigating challenges, enhancing happiness. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. This thing called life is a cycle. There is going to be challenges in life. You are not going to be laughing all the time. But you will realize that when you are able to navigate the challenges, there's a joy that comes with it. You are happy. You achieve fulfillment. And then it is in the place of happiness, joy, that you are able to build connection. There's nobody that wants to connect with a negative person. You are always moody, you are sad, you don't relate with people. There's nobody who is interested in connecting with a negative person. And so life, now I'm talking about life. I've left work, and I hope that we get the gist. That is what life essentially is about: building connection. Life is about providing support for family, for friends. Life is about happiness, about joy. Life is about you being there for people. That is everything about life. So we see that, we say work, we say life. You will now understand that you will need work to fuel life. You will need work to fuel life. And so if you also twist it the other way, you will realize also that if the life is good, the work will be good. In fact, there are times when, if the work is hectic, the work is tiring or burdensome, sometimes the joy that you have in the life can sustain you as you go about the work. There are quite a number of people who don't like their work. Very many people don't like their work. Yes, there are people that will say that if you don't like your job, quit it. But it is not everybody that will really get a job that they really love. It is understanding why you are doing the job that you are doing. Because it is not in every job that we will find purpose. I don't know if you understand. It is not in every job that purpose lies. But outside of our job, outside of your job, you must have a life. Outside of your job, you must have a life where you can provide support or receive support, a life where you can build connection, a life where you can achieve fulfillment, a life where you can be happy. Now, this is the summary of what we are talking about. We want to talk about work and then life. Work and then life. None, as far as I'm concerned, none of them is better than, as in, work is not, I don't believe that work is better than, I don't believe that life is better than work. So some people may say, we can enjoy our life. No, I don't believe that work is better than work. I believe that work and life must go together. Yes. If an individual, so now let's look at how the balance is. Let's look at how the balance is. So this is where we can find balance and imbalance. If an individual, okay, so let me, yes. So we see this is a sweet spot of life balance, where work, merges with a personal relationship, such that life provides fuel for the relationship, and then you see, you can connect, you can be happy, you can have fun. But you will understand now that there will be a problem if there is work, but the work is not fueling anything. There's no personal life, there's no joy, there's no happiness. That's where the imbalance is. Or there's life, but the life is not receiving fuel. Now, I want to state that fuel is not just money. Fuel is not just money. There are people that the reason why their relationship is still surviving is because there's a sense of there's a sense of identity that they bring into that relationship. Oh, my husband is a doctor. Oh, I am a doctor, and I have a wife, so I'm taking care of my, compared to I am a nobody, I'm doing nothing, and then I have a wife. So there's no identity that you carry to that person. There's no sense of joy that you derive from anywhere that you put into that relationship. And so you appear in that relationship as a nobody. So if you appear in the relationship as a nobody, you'll be treated as a nobody. You will talk as a nobody. You will not be able to give a joy or happiness. See, I'm very sure if we do the experiment or whatever, if somebody just get promoted at work today, the family will feel it. Yes or no? I don't know. Can we affirm? Is it true? We can talk. I don't want to be the only one talking. Yes, somebody just get promoted at work. The family will feel it. Then compared to the person is at work, and then the job is always being condemned. You are not doing anything, Joe. You are doing rubbish. You are not meeting deadline. You are not, your work is not effective enough. When the person gets home, it will affect the home. The person can just be sad. It's not as if they did not even pay the guy's salary. Salary is still going on. But there's something that he brings home that is not joy. It will affect his mood. So if everybody is laughing, everybody is laughing, he may not laugh, and then it affects them. But at the same time, you also understand that if the life, that's the LIFE that we're talking about now, if the life in the home, the children, the wife understand that this is not our daddy, this is not our daddy, and they say, "Daddy, what is wrong?" And the daddy says, I don't know what is wrong with my boss. He has been cranky. He's been shouting at me. He's been disturbing me. I don't know what is wrong. I don't know what I've done. And then like my wife used to do, yes, sometimes. So if sometimes I just think, oh, that work, and my wife say, so because of the job now, you want to spoil our mood here. And then I take caution and I adjust. And then the joy that I get from from my home. So assuming I left the office sad, angry, that whatever, the joy that I get from my home, what will happen is that it will fuel my work. It will provide it will give it a momentum. It will give it a push that I will have to do better because I have gotten, and there's an energy that I've gotten from the home, and then I bring it to my job. That's the way it works. Each of them, they are fueling each other. The work fuels the life. The life, maybe not physically, but emotionally, sometimes spiritually, the life. So even this thing I'm talking about, I'm also talking about you going to church, you having a relationship with God. Having a relationship with God, studying your Bible, there's also a fuel that it gives to the job. So you could be having problem at the job, but the life that you carry from your secret place, if you are not married, for instance, now, from the place of being a responsible believer, being a discipler, being somebody who is praying for someone, there's a sense of joy that you derive from that place that will rub off on the work. So even when everybody is shouting, you are trying your best, but it's not being seen, it's not being recognized. But that joy will rub off on the work, and then suddenly somebody will just say, we don't even know this guy. We shout, we make noise, but he still does his work and he still do it well. Eventually, you see yourself doing well. So there's a fuel that each of them provides. So that is the essence of the balance that we are talking about. This one fuels this. This one fuels this. So it has to be balanced. We are not saying that work is more important. We are not saying that life is more important. We are saying that work is as important as your life. In fact, when I was just calculating the way we live our life, it seems like God has a sense of humor. Naturally, how many hours do we sleep? Can we put in the comment section, how many hours do we sleep? That's normally people sleep like 8 hours, abi? Yes, 8 hours. We sleep 8 hours. And you see, most work is usually supposed to end like 8 hours. You go to work 8 o'clock and then you return 4 o'clock. So it seems that there's a balance that God has provided naturally. We are going to get there. So you work for 8 hours. You are supposed to have life for 8 hours, and then you are supposed to sleep for 8 hours. Is that some rema? But that's why I just feel that that's the way that God has arranged it. God has actually balanced it, because God knows that there's a time that you will have for yourself that you don't even have time. You don't even have it for yourself. You need to shut down. So God says that is 8 hours. So there's 8 hours for life. There's an 8 hours for work. So can you imagine if somebody now decided, no, me, I want to do life with a angelic alert 16 hours. there's going to be problem. There's going to be a lot of issue. So moving on now, let's see it here. The harmony of work, life, and self-care. Yes. The harmony of life and self-care. I think while I was talking the other time, I mentioned it. It is still the same person. And I said that if somebody can work very well, if you can work well, sometimes I wish that when I was younger, somebody is able to. I was told this thing, but eventually I grew up to learn it. That if we can work well, that's my opinion. If we can work well, we can enjoy our personal life well. In fact, as a young person that is not married, because for instance, you are not married, you don't have any responsibility, you even know that you are supposed to work more. Yes, you are supposed to work more. If you don't have a job, and no, you have a job, but you are not married, the challenge I'm giving to you today is that you should work more. So in your own case, except in cases where maybe health is involved, in your own case, I will challenge you to work more, such that you will get to the point where you will be able to get to a height that when in your personal life there's now a child, there's now a wife, nobody will question you about your work. And people, we can actually do like that if we understand that work is essential, and from 18 years old you can do work. You can work. The work we are even talking about is not even just the work for money. You can work on yourself, you can work on your capacity, you can work on your capability. You will get to the point where the work that you will do will not touch your personal life. It will not touch it. You will get to the point where, yes, one of the things that we were discussing, we were saying no. You will get to the point where you can have the audacity to say no. See, people will tell us that we must be able to learn to say no. There's a level you are in life that no is difficult to. No is difficult to say no to work. Except I have seen strange things, like people that are working in a private school and then they are collecting 8,000, 7,000, 9,000, and then they will tell you this is the time you must come to work. Because of the situation of those guys, they can't say no. They can't say no. Even if the fuel, even when the fuel of the job cannot take them anywhere in their life, they find it difficult to say no. So the essence of this thing, I'm trying to find a way to balance it for different levels of our life. So you will get to that point where you are still a young person, you are still in school, and then you are now saying work-life balance. I know that is important. That's why I say there are levels to this thing, and you're a young person. Your own balance will be different from the balance of somebody who have a family. It will be different. In fact, person that have a family, nobody will even tell you that you must balance it. But you as a young person, you know that this period, yes, I must have a life, but I must work more now when I have, and the pressure of that personal life is not there, such that I will be able, my ability to say no, so that my personal life will not suffer, will be high. So this is just a summary of what I've said before. If you look at the face, as it is facing here, it is facing here, but it does not look like a different person. It is still the same. If you look at the shape of the head, it is still the same person fueling each other. There is a blend in the relationship and in the career. That blend is what this talk is about. So moving on, yes, there's something I said there. There's something I said there. I would like us to look at it, yes. So I said, when work is the all of the life, it becomes a trap. Yes. So if everything in that shape of the head that we see is just blue, what will happen is that green personal life will disappear. It becomes a trap. When work, sorry about that, is a typography error there. When work is a part of the life, it becomes a gift, because that gift is a fuel to strengthen the personal life, is a fuel. to ensure that purpose is being fulfilled. It's a fuel to ensure that you can have a life outside the job. There are people that, because they have refused to work, and they are refused to work effectively because their mind is just focused on, I want to enjoy, I want to have life, I want to have life. Eventually, they have entered a phase in their life where it is difficult for them to even enjoy the life, because sometimes while enjoying life, they now have debt, or they did not grow even as their personal life relationship is growing. So when they now want to go and get a job, the fuel that the job will give them will not be sufficient to power the personal life that they have. I don't know if you understand. Please let me know if you are with me. Are we together, please? Thank you. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that if, because you are too focused on, okay, let me just continue now. I will be able to merge it together. So now I said, if work is part of your life, is a part, you understand that this work is part of my life and I must work it, and you have that perspective, and so you are effective with the work. You understand that work is a gift. You'll be thankful for work. When you go to work every day, you say, God, I'm grateful for work. Because if you are at home seated, there's an emotional brokenness that you will experience, that you will never be able to. God forbid that a man does not have a job and he sits at home. The thing that it will do to that man, even if there's food, there's water, there's everything, there's something it does to the man's identity. It makes him think small, look small. There are things they will say, you will think that they are abusing you, even though they are not abusing you. It is psychological trauma. So if a man understands that this job is a gift, he will be able to be grateful for it, and then will grow. Now, I now said that when life is all of the life, yes, that is your perspective of, I want to have my partner, I want to enjoy my relationship, I want to just have family, I want to just have aunties, I want to just have people I'm talking to, I just want to have fun. If all of life, that is, if when life, that is the one you are enjoying, is all of the life, it is indulgence. Indulgence means laziness. Indulgence means greediness. Indulgence means you don't stand up, you don't do anything. Indulgence means anything comes, anything goes. There's no man that function effectively on indulgence. You just indulge yourself. You see 50 kobo, you spend it. Because you want to do life. You are they used to say you are the life of the party. That life will eventually run out of fuel, and nothing will be able to supply the fuel for that life. And you know what will happen? When the person eventually decide that, oh, I want to go and work, so it gets to the work, the life has become bigger than the work that he has left. So the fuel that you will be getting from that life will not be sufficient for that. The fuel you will get for the work will not be sufficient for that life again. There will be deficit. So even while working, that one has created a terrible imbalance. So except the person now sit down and now be able to reflect, what do I need to do? There are some things I need to cut out of my life. And then that's when the person will be able to get a balance. So I now say, but when life is a part of the life, so it is not the entire of your life. You are not saying, I am a man of purpose. It's only ministry that I want to do. No, God has called me. This is what God has called me to do. For some people that want to be apostles. Oh, this is what I have been sent to the nations. Oh, this is the only thing that is about my life. I don't care. This world is not my own. All of those things. But when the person understand that even this purpose is part of my life, that's why we saw Paul now. Paul was a tent maker. You saw Luke, doctor. God gave us examples in the scripture to tell us that work is part of life. So when you now realize that this thing is part of my entire life, the person become grounded. So the day, that's why the Bible says, I have learned to abound and to abase. The day you have to walk, you walk well. The day you have to be involved in purpose, work as discipline you such that even inside life, you live correctly. What I mean inside life is, even inside your relationship, they see you as discipline. You keep to time. You can be enjoying life, having relationships, keeping friends and all of those, be there for people and be so indisciplined and be so terrible and be so doing terribly in life. But if you are effective in work and effective in your relationship, in personal life, your self-care, your health, you will be grounded. You have clarity. You know, this one is a no. This one is a yes. In fact, it is people that have work that have the ability to say no more. Me, I have seen it, especially in the Christendom. I'm sorry to say this. I hope I will not be, I will not, it won't be too sensitive for some people, but it's the truth that I have come to realize. People who have a job, as in you have a job, nobody will come and ask you to come and be involved in things that are not essentially important to a cause. So people say, oh, you have to go to church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It will be impossible for anybody to come and now tell you that, oh, serving God, you have to serve God well, and then the person will not tell you that it is coming to church on Sunday to Monday, Monday to Sunday. That is what serving God means. They won't tell you because they know you have a job, because they know that you have a sense of responsibility. The person that sermon will minister to is the person who is not effective in his work. It is that person that will not be. In fact, it is those people that complain about church. Because if you know that you have a job, and so you know that, oh, I'm supposed to go for midweek service, or if there's another service or whatever, podcast or something, you already know the meetings that you can attend. Your pastor understands these are the meetings this brother can attend because he has a job. If you don't have a job, you will not even be able to drop offering. So there's no church that pastor will expect everybody to be coming to church every day. If I have a church, I will chase you out, go and walk. Because it is your job. If you work, people that actually have job, very good job, and I've actually seen it, that if you see some churches, talk about Redeem, where a lot of their pastors are part-time workers. There's a sense of responsibility that they bring to service that is very different. Why? Because some of them have businesses, some of them are working. So because they are working, they know the ethics of service, the ethics of work, not coming to church, not coming late to work. So you don't go to work late. You mark attendance. You are accountable to somebody. Those are the things at the workplace. So it's easy for you to now come and say it in church because it is what is obtainable at the workplace. So, but you not tell a man that has not gone to work, does not do anything, you not tell the person to be accountable to it. You say, Pastor, want to put me under him. So you see the way it works. That is just the balance. So the person becomes a grounded person is a man that is balanced in work and in life. And I need to say it. I want to emphasize it again and again and again. And I pray that God will help us, that we will be effective in our work. That, like Paul said the other time, you have KPIs. You have targets to meet, such that if you are effective in those things, you will see that when it comes to your personal life, when it comes to your relationship, you will really be found wanting because of the discipline. That discipline from that place will fuel the discipline in your marriage. It will fuel the discipline even with your children. It will fuel the discipline with communicating with people. It will fuel it. to fuel it. Let's move on. Yes, there is. I think I mentioned this the other time. This is God's pattern for balance. If God wanted us to walk all through, He just wanted us to walk. God just want to walk, just want to walk. There will not be night and day. There will not be night and day. The only thing we'll just see is that we'll have all day. Genesis chapter 3 told us that there's something that God used to come and do. And that was when He came to come and meet Adam and Eve. The Bible says that He came in the cool of the evening. That is an example of personal life, an example of relationship. In the cool of the evening, because God knows that this guy ought to have gone to work. So in the evening, he will be coming home to rest, and then I can talk, and then we can gist, and then we can relax. So you see the way it is. God establishes the cycle of day and night. Why? Why? Because He wants us to start the day by walking. So the sun rises, marking the start of the day. And then, number 3, people engage in work. We walk. We go about walking. And then night falls. Why will the night fall? It's time to shut down. It's time to shut down. It's time to rest. It's time to relax. It's time to reflect. So that is the balance. It's time to relax. It's time to reflect. It's time to shut down. It's time to now rest and recharge. You rest and prepare for the next day. So you get the fuel from the work, and you see that they used to say that if you don't work, you cannot have rest too. So that's why it's balanced. Somebody that does not work will not even have money to be able to afford food. So how will you rest? So you must work to be able to rest. If not, you must work to be able to rest. So the person that has worked is the person that deserves to rest, to relax and recharge for the next day. To be able to relax for the next day. You get the energy from work to rest. That's the way God has patterned it. And I feel that if the Creator patterned it like that, there's an expectation in His heart. He will also want us to pattern it. So please, let's move to the next slide, please. Okay. So now we are talking about integration for a balanced life. Now, in this integration for a balanced life, there are 2 things that I want to talk about, and that's why I feel is the way to manage balancing work and life. Those 2 things is what I call integration and invasion. Integration and invasion. Okay, no. Let's just talk about it before we. Where is it? Okay. Yes, integration versus yes. Now, integration means that what we need to do is to integrate life into work and also integrate work into life. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Okay, a perfect example of integration, of integrating life into work, for instance, is sometimes, and I think I learned that one from my wife. Sometimes, I know that she's usually quite busy. She's usually busier than myself at work. But sometimes in the morning, I learned it from her. She taught me. So in the morning, 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock, we are both at our various place of work. I'll just see her call me. How is work going? So I'll just be wondering, this person is supposed to be much more engrossed in her work, and then she's calling me. So you see that me, I am not part of the work. I am part of the life. But she has been able to find a way to integrate me into her work. So while she's at the office, we are still doing life, because it just takes 3 minutes, 2 minutes to say, how are you doing? How is work? How is everything? I hope you are fine. I hope work is fine. And that's all. It does not touch. I mean, I really doubt if there's anybody can be as busy as somebody that works in a bank. That they can be quite busy taking care of mails and all of those things, and that is what she does. So she call. So I do not even have any excuse to say that I am busy. So when I'm at work, I've actually learned to be intentional about it. So that is how I integrate that part of my life, into my work. So I cannot now say that I am at work, I am 100% focusing on the work. Yes, the work is important too, but I have been able to find a way to integrate it into my life, into my work. So how do we integrate life into our work? Is being intentional. Is by being intentional, and we must learn to be flexible. Flexibility and freedom. But there's something I wanted to say, and it is that sometimes if we that's what I've been saying before, if we work well, as in if you work well in your place of work, such that you've been able to gain the confidence maybe of your superiors, gain the confidence of your colleagues, there are some allowance that you will have. One, to be able to say, I can't do this now, so that you can be flexible. If you work well, which means that if you're able to manage your time well, there's a task, and you know this task will take me 8 hours, 2 days. You will not start the task when it is close to deadline. You start the task as soon as possible, such that you do not eventually become so burdensome that the only thing you think about is that work. But so one of the things I learned, of recent, I started working with a boss that the guy likes work. It's government parastatal, but that my oga, if they say somebody like, I hope that he will not he will not listen. So he's a director, and you know he's managing like about 7 states. So I work directly with him. So sometimes he can give you like 10 tasks at the same time. You know, when I started working with him, initially I just feel that I have to do everything. But one of the things I've learned to do, because I have learned to do my work well. So the only thing I owe him every time he says do this is, okay sir. So even if he gives me 10 things to do, the only thing I owe him is, okay sir, at that moment. So there's no pressure. So if I want to still call somebody, if I want to still, sometimes when I'm at the office in the morning, if I want to call a mentee or something, sometimes even in the morning, I still do those things, because and then I now sit down, and then I write down what are the things I want to do. Eventually we get to that time management and co. So I'm able to fix in those things, because I have gained the man's confidence. If I say, okay sir, he does not give me deadline, because he knows that the work will come. In fact, if I did not submit the work on time, sometimes what you will tell me is that, Shola, you are always trying to make this thing perfect. Just send it like that first. Just send it like that first. That's what he tells me. So if you have been able to get the confidence even of your colleagues, of your mates, there are things that you can say no to and nothing will happen. But you know, if every time it has always been procrastination, you have not always been doing the work on time, you are always doing the work when it is late, then it becomes difficult for you to say no. Now there's the part, that's about integration. And then the part I want to talk about integration, that's how do we integrate work into life. Yes, sometimes a lot of us used to say that, oh, don't bring work home. I understand, don't bring work home is neither here nor there. But me, sometimes, yes, we agree that we don't bring work home, that's we don't do the work at home. But there's a way you can integrate your work into your life. For instance, my wife, myself, when we are at work, we just gist about our work. So what this work today, can you imagine what this man asked me to do? Can you imagine? And I don't even know what I'm going to do it to. So sometimes we start brainstorming work in our life, but we are still bonding. So she tell me sometimes, so she tell me, I don't even know if I should send that mail. I said, no, I don't think you should send it. Why should you send it? Why didn't so I wanna say, okay, what did the policy say? I don't know if you can see it. So we are ready. I am already integrating work into my life. For some other persons, it may be different, but that is an example of how I think you can integrate. That's for somebody that is married. And there are times too that there's something that Prof said one time that I also realized that it's something that, yes, a very good example. Now you are a student, you are not really understand, or you understand but you want it to stick. That one can say is life, but you want it to stick. And then you have friends that you gist with. You can decide to teach them over a cup of garri. You are doing life and you are still doing work. I don't know if it's a good example, but I think it is. There's something that is there's a knotty issue. There's something that is tough, that you think, oh, maybe there's. I remember the first time when I was in school. One of the ways that we bond is we are laughing and talking, but what are we discussing? We are discussing our work in school. Lie, what do you think? How can these things? We are arguing, and we are sometimes we abuse ourselves, and yet we still talk about the work. So you see that there's already an integration. We are already discussing work, and we are still bonding. But most times people just feel, oh, let me just go and have fun, and let me go and do. But those things can work hand in hand. You can get perspectives, you can get ideas of the job while you are even bonding. You can get ideas as to how to do it better while you are bonding. I hope that is a good example, and we can also find ways to integrate work. So the one I want to talk about, and I think that is where imbalance happen between work and life. It is invasion. Somebody type invasion. Can we type invasion? I want to see if we are together. Invasion. Yes. Don't worry, Prof. Let's still stay with this. The last part is the part I will just fly, and then we'll be done. Invasion. Let's stay with this structure, with this chart. Invasion. Did you see, if you look at this scale, you see that integration is very cool. Integration does not like wahala. Integration is balanced. Integration is fun while doing the work. Integration is fulfilling purpose while doing the work. That's why doctors integrate work into their life. That's why doctors can go to mission field. They work and they still meet purpose. So a doctor can be treating somebody and still preaching the gospel. He's working and he's fulfilling purpose. There are plenty of examples of when you can integrate life into work. That's why, in fact, as far as I'm concerned, doctors are the best people that, although their work is very tough, but somehow they can find a way. It's just that, especially if this thing is not too toxic, where you can sit down with patients and talk. They can go to places and start talking about life. And because everybody want to see a doctor, they can have a life. But did you see invasion? When I saw this invasion, the first thing that came to my mind is the example of children and married couples. Children and married couples. If somebody just get married today, they will be doing mush. What's this guy's name? Where is this, that guy that just got married and what's his name again? That is bearing your name, Prof. That, is it not just is bearing, or what's it bearing? I've forgotten
It's
that his name.
Vion, right?
Eh?
Vion.
Vion, yes,
Yeah,
Vion.
Vion.
You know, everybody, no, 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 everybody will be laughing. But what you will realize that immediately a child comes, children don't ask questions, they just invade the space. Dua. And you know, one of the things they will do, what do they do? Pim, they take over your bed. So the husband leaves the bed. The wife starts staying with this thing. They took over everything. Sometimes the man may not be able to sleep in the night. So that's a very good example of invasion. But that one is a very good invasion because it's something that you like. It's something that you enjoy. And sometimes in our lives, there are legitimate invasions, but they cannot linger. We cannot allow them to linger for too long. For instance, you just start a job, and when you started the job, a lot of things may change. Maybe you need to, the location is farther from your house and all of those things. So invasion will naturally or almost immediately, it will cause a change in your activity. It was invasion that caused this my this my white hair. You know, that time there was a baby, there was a house that I wake up in the morning, I'll go to site, and those guys will almost want to drive me crazy. I will go to site, I'll go and look for material, I'll come back, and then I'll quickly want to come back home to go and check on my baby that is staying with somebody that is taking child minder, you know, all of those things. So there will be an invasion. So what we are supposed to do to understand balance is find a way to integrate whatever comes into our life, and such that this thing does not happen. Now, see what happens. What the things that invasion used to use to ride itself over people or to dominate is when there's lack of boundaries. Definitely, now if you open your gate, something will enter. When there are lack of boundaries, one of the things that, so let me use the issue of parents and children. You know that the only time that thing can even continue to happen for long is maybe 3 months, for 3 months or so. If you are the husband, you should make sure that even the child understand. That's why some people understand that, oh, this is time, this bed belongs to in fact, I did not leave my bed. I did not leave my bed for anybody. I did not leave my bed. So you have to find a way to integrate whatever comes suddenly into your life. So, and how will lack of boundary? Lack of boundary is inability to say no. You cannot say no. Everything goes. They come to you and say, "Can you please help us to do this?" And we have discussed some of those things. Can you please help us to do this? And you say, "Oh, you are available." For me, for instance, the person I was working with, one of the things that I know that man can do, he can ask you to do anything for him anytime. He can send you a message. He can send me a message. Even on Saturday, he can send me a message. But like I have said, the answer that I owe him is okay, sir. So okay, sir means noted. It does not mean I'm going to do it. It does not mean I'm going to do it now. It means that I will do it. And over time, I have never seen him say, "Why didn't you do it?" So okay, sir can be somebody's boundary. Noted, sir can be somebody's boundary. If you cannot be no, or it will be treated as soon as I can be your boundary. And most lack of boundary will eventually lead to stressful encroachment. People will enter you like they used to say, "I will enter you." People will enter you Most people don't care. So you must care for yourself, because the real culprit in imbalance in work-life balance is actually invasion, unplanned responsibilities, things that you're not supposed to do that you're doing. So times that they will say there's a sometimes some invasion can even be legitimate. It may be family member, it may and you know, some of these things I saw that we dealt with it last week. Some people say, let people know you, let people know that this guy can say no, and let them be able to know that if you say no, it is because it is for their good. They know that. And that's why I said that let our work be effective such that you can say no. If you work well, you are not always coming late to work. You are not always behind schedule. If somebody decide to invade you, invade your boundary, want to encroach, it is very easy to say no. And then if they say why, I like to get my job done well. If I do it now, it's not going to be good. It's enough answer, because the president has shown that this guy is always on point. This guy does his work, I should do it. But if you are the type that always procrastinate, you don't even do it well, even the one that they give you plenty times to do, you don't do it well, it's difficult to say no. So, but for the thing that you have planned, what you only need to do to balance work and life is to find a way to integrate life into work and integrate work into life. So, what about, okay, no, let me quickly finish this and then I will, should I do this now? Okay, let me quickly finish it and then I will now talk about, what about if the work is too much that it's overwhelming the life? What do you do? I think we'll quickly look at that. Let me quickly summarize all of these things. And I think we have dealt with some of them. Strategies for achieving balance, time management, understanding what we have talked about it last week, prioritization. What is truly important for you? And mind you, like I've said, this balance is not just balancing work, it's also balancing life. It is not all relationships that are important. It is not every good afternoon, good morning that is fine. It is not every message that you respond to. It is not every, it's not even every mentoring, yes. It's not every mentoring that you must do. Like if you are a mentor, it's not, if you are, it's not every task. So for work now, it's not every task that you must do. So if it is not important, if it's not only important, if it does not add to, you have KPI, it does not add to your KPI, I beg, just leave it. Prioritize task, then avoid overcommitting. Don't be the guy that does everything. I have been there. Even at my office, I have been there. But I've come to understand that you must avoid, because when you overcommit, people already understand the guy that will go and do it, and they will say, no, don't worry, go and give him, he will do it. Even when they don't have reasons not to be able to do it. But if you have always been the go-to guy, the guy that gets things done, people will continue to step on your head. And then you must also learn to take breaks. Yes, you must learn to take breaks. You must learn to be able to know that, oh, I can't do it today. Can we do it tomorrow? You must learn to take care of your mind. Yes. Taking care of your mind. Sometimes, that's why I talk about integrating life into work. Sometimes music, play good music that can help you, that can help to take care of your, because work also requires our mind. You make use of your mind, you are thinking, you are doing music. Music helps a lot, helps you. Then self-care, exercise. There are times that sitting down for too long can even be the reason why your body is paining you. It's not even because the work is hectic, but as you jog, move your body. So when you sit down, it already strengthens your your shape. And so sitting down for too long or standing or whatever the work is, you don't even feel it. That's how to integrate self-care into our work. We've talked about this one too. Communicate. We can't do communication enough. Communicate your ability, communicate your inability, communicate your helplessness, communicate what you can do and what you cannot do. Nobody goes wrong by saying that, please, how can I do this? Yes, that's another thing. Sometimes we run with instructions that we don't understand at the office. And then after spending so much time, an hour working, we come back to realize that we are doing the wrong thing. This communication I'm talking about at the place of work now. So you are not effective. And so because you have spent hours doing the wrong thing, you now have to do the work again. It's going to be very, 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 very terrible on the person. But if you communicate effectively, communicate what is expected of you, communicate your expectation one, communicate by asking questions of what is expected of you from your organization. Because you can go a whole year, and then when an appraisal is being done, somebody says you have not been doing well, and then you ask how. It can be emotionally draining to hear that you have not been doing well after all of the things you have done. And then it will affect your life, because when you now go out, there's no fuel to energize your life compared to if you hear, wow, well done for your contribution to this organization. But if you communicate and ask questions as to what is expected of you, and you are now weighing it, am I doing what's expected of me? And I say you are doing that, there's a sense of pride that you derive from the work, and it will fuel the life. So sometimes, even if the job is exclusive, even if the job is very demanding, and then you are getting joy, there's a joy that you are fulfilling something. It matters. It will fuel, even if it is 2 hours that you are getting from even if it is 2 hours that you are getting from maybe you are getting from bonding with friends, it will fuel it. When you come in contact with people, there's a joy they see, there's a boldness they see. You will even be more fulfilling in your life outside of your work. And then communicate even with your people, communicate your challenges. Let people know that my job is demanding. You cannot. So people don't put burden on you and start making demands that are unrealistic. Let people understand that I love you, but I love myself. I need to rest. Those are the things that are very, 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 very essential. And okay, in this place, I like this. There's technology boundaries. Technology boundaries. Sometimes on your phone, like on my own phone, there are times I put my phone on, is it read receipt? That even though you chat me, it will appear as though I have not seen it. So it's a boundary. So even if I will not respond, because as far as I'm concerned, I have not. And then I even tell myself, like I used to tell my wife, it's my phone. I can decide not to answer. Sometimes, if it's a call and I don't want to hear, and I don't want to see it, I will not pick it until I am ready. Those are boundaries that you can put. Time management. Those are technology boundaries that you can put. There are people you can block. Blocking people is technology boundary. I don't even know. Blocking people on the phone, the people that you don't want to hear, you don't want to listen to them, is a boundary provided by technology. Yes, you block anywhere, whether on Facebook or whatever. It is because you know that there are family members that I know that when I call them, I become emotional. Sometimes it tends towards I'm now thinking, I'm even feeling bad, I'm down. In my mind, what's the essence of this? Me, I don't want this. No matter how old they are, I block them. I love you, but I love myself too much to allow you make me feel this way. I think so. I'll just, if you have any question, overcoming challenges. Yes, overcoming challenges. I think this is where I'll be rounding up. Identify. So if you have a job, yes, if you have a job and this job is so demanding that it's already taking completely the whole of your life. It's taking the whole of your, it's taking away, it's not because you are not working effectively, it's not because you are not doing well, but this job is just too demanding that it's taking majority of your time, it's taking majority of your life. The first thing is to understand that you naturally, the question you should ask is that, have I outgrown this job? That's the question to ask. Because once, for instance, if a baby is in a woman's stomach, once the baby has outgrown that place, that's after 9 months, the baby needs to be delivered. So if you have worked in a place and then you just realize that this thing, this place is too demanding, the question to ask first of all that I would like you to ask, because it's not every time you go to a place and say you want to jump out, because sometimes the pressure is actually good for you. The pressure is good to help you grow. The pressure is good to help you become something. The pressure is good to shape you. But if you realize that this pressure is not shaping you, is not growing you, it obviously may mean that you have outgrown the place. So the next thing is, where else are you going to? So you must start planning how to move. Now, how you will know that you have outgrown the place is that the next place you are going, you will know that there's a demand for your skill. There will be demand for what you have, because in this last place, you have grown more than this place. So it is not enough to just say, I want to leave, I want to leave, I want to leave. Have you grown? Do you have what it takes to move to the next place? If you have what it takes to move to the next place, then there must somehow be a demand for you. Then if there's no demand for it, it means that you have not grown to the point where you can move to the next place. So you must understand that part. Identify the challenges. Identify, is it the work or is it me? Is it the work? Is it me? Is it that I have not grown enough to be able to deal with the challenges of this job, or I have gone beyond the challenges of this job, so it's not making sense again? Then you must develop resilience. There are places where even if you leave the job, you go to the next place and it seems as if, wow, this one is even, I know of somebody that was telling me that he left a bank and moved to another place. And then it was not, this one was not even as if the job was, it was even under, the pressure was not even anything. It was as if that he has outgrown the place that he moved to. So I told him that it must have meant that that place you left, that you are saying pressure, 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 it must mean that you are the one that was supposed to grow beyond that pressure. You know, one day I was telling somebody that pressure means press is sure. Press is sure. The moment you are bigger than what is pressing you, it's not a pressure again. The reason why the thing is a pressure is because you are not bigger than it. So lastly, okay, develop resilience. So you must develop, once you grow, you develop resilience. When that thing is pressing, pushing, it seems as if they are just blowing breeze. It's not touching you. And then lastly, seek support. Say, so no matter what happens, no matter the challenge, no matter what you are going through, whatever I have said, even if it does not even enter inside any of the situation, please ask questions, talk to people. This thing we have discussed, this life balance, my own does not enter. My own is unique. This is. Look for people that are maybe mentors. Talk to them. The person may not even have the idea, but he may know somebody that knows somebody that could help. And then lastly, there's something I would like to read. When work becomes life, when your work becomes your life, it consumes. When work serves life, it contributes. When life ignores work, I say, oh, I don't want to work. Oh, I don't want my life, personal care, it drifts. When life includes work, it thrives. So we can thrive when we are able to balance work with life. On this note, I would like to just stop so that we can take questions.
Thank you so much, sir. That's a wonderful knowledge shared, sir. We really like it was too deep. It was too deep. It was too deep. Like you really help our understanding through the help of God. Thank you so much, sir. Going further, yes, I I want us to ask questions. I want us to ask questions. Please, if you have any questions, please you can signify or put it in the comment box, or put it in the comment box, or put it in the comment box. While waiting for that, hello, is there anyone
Yes,
with a
yes. Yes, I was going to make a comment. Maybe our speaker can also maybe give a perspective about it. I think I've heard it several times from different people who say things like, "Oh, there's really maybe somebody's being interviewed and they say things like, oh, there's really nothing like balance that." And I think they have a point really because maybe what balance is to different people is different though. But their angle is the fact that when it is time for work, I do the work. When it is time for life, so called. I mean, that is your simple small letter life now, right? So that we also do life. So however it comes to do it. So, but I mean, you have brought in a very nice perspective now that like it's not coming from our work-life balance thing is not coming from the place of seeing work as bad. And that really is really refreshing because most of the times work-life balance comes from the angle that this work is killing me. I need some life. So maybe you can also shed maybe push that a bit further for people that say, oh, there's nothing like there can never be balance. All we do is we do what we have to do at every point in time.
All right, sir. I just like you have said. Can you hear me?
Sure, yes.
Just like I said, sometimes balance means different things to people, but the best way to live life is actually to be whole, such that one aspect of your life does not diminish the other aspect of your life. There is life in work, and there is work. There can be work in your life, such that anywhere you step into, there's a balance to you. For instance, if okay, for in the place of if you say somebody is a pastor, yes, that's another perfect example that I used to think. Somebody will say, I am a pastor, and then pastor is purpose. Now pastor is purpose, pastor is the work. But it is possible for somebody to be a pastor and not have a life. There are pastors children that will say, because you expect that pastor's responsibility is life, because you are in relationship with people, whatever is work, because you wake up, you pray, you go to places. But the person may be doing the work and not have life, because he will just sit down in the office. People come, people go, people come, people go, people come, people go, people come, people go, and he does not even have a conversation with himself. There's no time to even reflect, because what does he do every day? He's only receiving people's burden. He's only collecting. There's no reflection, there's no whatever. Even the people around him, maybe his family, he may not even have time for them, because he's so centered on the job. Whereas another perspective is, this is the time for counseling. This is the time to attend to people. Once I am done, this is it. My phone is off, or I have a PA that takes that records people that want to come, and then give people time when they want to come. And then I am with my family. And when I'm with my family, I am with my family. And then while the person is with the family and there are issues, as there's a prayer, there's somebody I prayed for today, and the person was trusting God for so and so. So what did you now say? And the person said, and the wife may say, and the Spirit of God is telling me that maybe you should just tell the person to go and reconcile. they are already working while they're having their life, and at the same time, while the person is doing the work, maybe in the church, he's still relating that. And that's what we see a lot of people do. And now you now see pastors, when a pastor is climbing the pulpit to minister, he will say, my wife is with me, and can we jam our ends, da, 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 da. That is still life inside the work. But I said, for young people, for if I a young person, that's my own perspective. Oh, it may be different. If I a young person, you need to work as much as possible to be able to get to the point where you'll be able to say, okay, I really want to enjoy this life the way because as you work, you grow. And then as you begin to grow, there are levels of work that you will not be able to do again that will give you freedom. So the essence of work to an extent is to be able to have freedom. And one of the freedom that work gives is also financial freedom. Because if you don't work, you will not be free. So there is a type of work you will do that the financial freedom that work will give you will make you to enjoy, like I was talking about, fueling life. It will make you to really, 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 really sponsor the life that you want. Because you want to travel to Dubai, you want to go to the Bahamas. You know that you must know the type of, it's not I'm saying you must work, you must labor strong before, but you know that somehow there's a commitment you will give that they will take you to that level where after a while you can even work remotely. You will be in Bahamas and you only need to send a mail. I don't know if it answer your question, Prof.
Perfectly, sir. Thanks a lot.
I saw somebody raise his hand.
That was Maugbe, except it was a mistake.
All right. If there are still questions, please, we can signify and then also put it in the comment section and then to answer. I going the while waiting for that, uh, our speaker uh, really dealt with some of our understanding that is bringing our perspective into that work is also a life, and then there's also a life that is it's not a tool, it's not a thing we can it's not a thing we can separate. That is with work we find our purpose, and uh, I would like our speaker to uh, just uh, put more light on this. And when life is all of the life, it is indulgence. It is indulgence, and then when life is part of the uh, life, it is grounding. Now, my question is, we are made to understand that the life. Then, how do we the okay, the life, the other life, how do we come about it? Like, how do we build it? You know, aside work, we have a different kind of life, not just only relationship. Not just only relationship. We have a kind of life to enjoy. We have a life maybe to do different things, and then we also have a life of let me say building, that is maybe a personal development or a development. Now, if we put all this together, uh, as a young man, which would you say a young man should prioritize more, sir? That is, you are saying a young man should work more, and then during his early stage, and then there's also a part of development, and which would you say he should put more effort on?
Okay. You know, like we talk about prioritization. There is a in that life, there is a place of relationship, your family, your brother, your friends. You know, some people their own that type of life is they like to visit people. They maybe every weekend they must go and see one uncle, see one auntie. Another person, it is Owambe. They must go for one every weekend. They must, if there's birthday party, they must attend. That is one. There's also the one of self-care. Maybe every once in a while, some people there's a you another example that came to my head now. If you love football, there's nothing wrong in you deciding that one day you have been shouting Real Madrid, Real Madrid. You can decide that you want to take a trip to Bernabeu and then watch the match live. That is also life now. You snap picture, put it on your whatever. That is life. You want to take a vacation. That is that is life. And that's why I used to say that there's nothing wrong in even aiming at this type of life because it will provide the fuel for work. If you know you want to go for vacation at Bernabeu or at Bahamas, then compare it that you want to go for vacation at sorry, which this thing could can I use in Nigeria? Guara
Gurara
Guara
Falls,
waterfall,
abi? Kanji,
Guara
Kanji Dam,
Kanji
Kanji.
Kanji Dam. You know the work. You understand that the work will be different now. The work will be different. The kind of I'm not talking about because sometimes you may not look. Let's look at it. Critically. It's not like I'm saying that the work, as in you now understand the growth that you are aiming at. If it is kanji, to let's just be enjoying ourselves in this one now. Even if I don't do too much, promotion or no promotion, you understand that as you are, the work you're actually doing is for growth, so that you grow beyond that place. There's a scripture that I like. That scripture that says that um 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 um, um and the yoke shall be destroyed for the sake because of the anointing. That scripture is not actually because of the if you read other references, it say, and the yoke shall be destroyed because of many facts. That that thing is describing animals. What's the name of this thing? When they yoke two like bulls together, once both of them start becoming big, 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 that thing will not be able to hold them again. And what will happen? They will break the yoke because the calf, or is it bull now? What's the name of the oxen is now bigger than the yoke. What I'm trying to say is that if the place that you want to go is Bahamas, and you know that this job that you are doing, what it can fetch you, Guara waterfalls. If it is Guara waterfalls that you are satisfied with, you will continue to just do the work and just do it like you should do it and then go away. But if it is Bahamas, for instance, it means that, so linking it with that personal development, it means that you are going to find a way to think about this work that I'm doing. Does it correlate with the skills that I am earning so that I can be bigger than this place and then I can go to another place? So you understand that it is not being indolent or being lazy that will move you out of that place. You have to do more. I don't know if that explains if it explains it. So when I talk about if life becomes your work, if life becomes all of your life, you become indulgent, means that if the only thing you think about is I just want to enjoy life, I just want to enjoy life, work will start becoming stress. You will start becoming bitter with work. You will not find fuel in the work. What you just be looking for is, let them pay me salary, let me drink, let me take it and enjoy my life, wear clothes, do things. You will not even think of personal development. You will not even think of growth. So what you become is you will still remain in that place. Because you are already like You are just let me anything I want to do, I want to do. You will remain in that, you can't grow because you will not even work more to grow beyond that place. It will be as if you are even yoked there. But if the mindset is not just life, it is one fueling the other, one fueling the other, one fueling the other. When you are even working, you are thinking of the type of life that you are aiming at. Vatican, like this one now that they inaugurated Pope, and you and you want to go. You are thinking those are the things that fuel. So that is what your the that life li small letter life is now going to fuel the type of work, and then it will now fuel even in the job. There are some certain things that so if you are in a unit that is not even if you are in a unit that is not even that is not even that does not correlate with where you are going to, that's not even adding to your growth for the type of life you want. You start considering, am I going to join a new unit? Am I going to ask to be transferred to a new place, or am I going to be asking that I want to get a new job? But it does not still now mean that in that new job there's no that new job, because of the life that you want, may even now require more work to be able to meet your target, to be able to do beyond what is expected, so that you can get promoted, and then you can be recommended for things that are far far beyond where you are. That is what I think.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much, sir, for
It's
that.
like David was raising up his hand. I don't know if he still wants to ask a question.
Okay. I don't know. Can you hear me? On behalf here.
Hello, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
All right. First of all, I want to say a very big thank you that the lecture was very wonderful and it was very, very great. And I really, really appreciate for joining this lecture. And first of all, let me just make things brief for my question. There was a point I was listening to you very vividly, and you made mention of effective work. That effective work gives you this sense of purpose, gives you this sense of like a fulfilled life. Like when you can work effectively, give you this sense. So I'm actually a product of that actually. So because at a point because I not quite long this year I started talking to Professor Emmanuel Dansu JC, and he has really changed my life. Like I've gotten to this point where I'm feeling fulfilled my life because I'm being able to do things, although I've not given him the feedback, so he might be shocked right now. But I've been able to do some certain things that you know, I've been able to do some really good work that I feel a sense of purpose and satisfaction in my life in general. But let's not drift away from the fact that life comes naturally. Naturally, life comes. We just experience life naturally. But work is something that, it requires discipline and purpose. So the major point of my question, I just want you to enlighten me on this work, because right now I'm really, really, really like happy with my work, the pattern of my life and everything, like from the motivation that I've gotten from and the counseling I've gotten from Prof. I've really, really understood that this sense of discipline and can really, really change your life in a whole new direction. So should we focus more on this effective work, then just let the life come naturally? Because I feel that that's my own point of view right now that I stand. Like, let's focus on this effective work, work well. But I feel the life will come naturally. We need to eat, yes, we need to eat good food, we need to travel to a good place. These things come naturally. So, so what do you think about that? So it's possible that we can just focus on this effective work and then patterns of life. Thank you.
All right. Okay, let me join you in thanking Prof. I remember there was a particular time I called him and I was begging him that please, so no matter the height that you reach, please and please, please and please, make sure I'm begging you, and I'm happy for this report. I was begging that make sure that there are people that you don't leave behind. There are people that you don't leave behind. That is the responsibility that we owe our generation. And I'm excited of your feedback, of your testimony, and it's my prayer that you will grow more. That's my prayer. Prof, thank you so much. I want to say that you have said it. Life is natural because yes, but our work can determine the type of life. For instance, if you, as you have said, your work is becoming effective, as because it's becoming effective, it will attract money. It will attract is value you are delivering, and value will attract money. It will affect the food you eat. A time will come, there are places that you will be working where you will not be able to eat the type of food you are eating again. In fact, there are times I'm sure that maybe Prof may even be one, he may be looking forward to be eating the ewa going, and he may not see it in he may not see it in Japan. There are some types of food you now realize that things has changed because you can't eat that food again. It's not even as if you are too big, but your location has changed. So your desire will just start seeing it, that it start crawling up without thinking. There was a time when I had to choose between using body cream and I needed to buy toothpaste or bathing soap. I needed to choose, but I but I know that if I don't brush, it will affect. And I wanted to go and teach that time. If I don't brush, it will affect the quality of my work. But if I did not bath, nobody will really know. So I had to choose that my work will be effective, so that eventually it will, because if I go and bath but my mouth was smelling, and that time I was doing private lesson, it will affect the quality of work. Eventually maybe I will lose both. I will not be able to brush, and and now not even have money to bath. So but because the work was continued, by virtue of the quality of work, I could now afford bathing soap. And I don't know if you understand. If your work, that's why I said, for a young person, for a young person, yes, so we are talking about life and work. For a young person, you will tend to make sure that that scale for work is higher, because life will happen on its own naturally. You will eat, you wear clothes, but those things will not even really matter, because it's just normal thing. There's nobody that will not wear clothes, there's nobody that will not eat food. But the quality of the work today will fuel the quality of life that you not desire for tomorrow, such that you cannot decide that I don't like this type of food again. I don't like this type of cloth again. This is what I want to do for it. Will even it will affect the quality of marriage that you will have, because now you have grown to be able to afford the life that you now want. Instead, if you now go and your life is bigger than and there are people like that. There are big people. They will say they can't eat food without rice. They can't eat food without meat. They can't eat food without whatever. Whereas that thing they cannot afford is because their work cannot afford it. But they will say they are bigger than so some of them they may borrowing clothes. Some of them they may be in debt, but they will be putting up a front. So their life will now be bigger than what their work can produce. Everything will fall down like a pack of cards now. So eventually, that's why you say that when there's a place in one that I said that there will be a drift when there's the life it is when life is just no when work when it is just I'm trying to remember that point now. But if that life is just centered around, there's no work, there's no whatever. Okay, now that one is purpose. If it is just purpose, and there's no work, there's no work that drives the discipline for that relationship or for that purpose. That is when you hear that pastors have had places where pastor will now be trying to corner member, will be forcing them to pay tithe. You will preach heresy, you will preach fear, because if they don't bring money, how will you survive? You will drift. There will be you will drift out of the way, because you do not understand that work can fuel purpose. I mentioned Bill Gates. Bill Gates does not, Bill Gates was just Bill Gates. He was just doing his thing. He was working. After a while, he does not have anything in that work again. He had to resign and start focusing on Bill Gates Foundation, because eventually you essentially you will see that there's no essence in work like that. It is in our life that we may find meaning, maybe in our relationship. But before we can fuel that meaning, we can fuel that purpose or that relationship that will give meaning, it is work that will fuel it. So Bill Gates has worked. It is his work that is now fueling his purpose. So you see Bill Gates Foundation, what are they doing? They are donating this, donating that, because Bill Gates wants meaning. Bill Gates wants meaning. He wants something that means something. He has seen money, but money does not mean anything to him. But because he has worked, his work cannot fuel the life that he wants. But if he has not worked, if he start foundation, and you see a lot of people start NGOs, but they have not been able to do the work that will fuel the purpose. So some NGOs are just people trying to dupe other people, even though they may start good before. But because they've not developed the discipline from the place of work, when they even start the NGO, they will siphon the money, they will steal it, they will mismanage the fund, and then nothing will come out of it. So as a young person, my counsel is, let the scale shift a bit, let work, let it take some, you understand? And then after a while, life will start forming, because you will now want to get married. Or is David married?
It remains small.
Sure, you see. So you need to do the work now, so that when that life now comes, you need be able to afford the type of life that you want, the way you want it. So it won't be as though you just say, "Toh." In fact, all these things used to touch a lot of things. Oh, sometimes I still believe, is my opinion, that somehow, if you don't have even your work will affect the type of woman. We are talking as men now, the type of woman that will accept you. So it will not just be anybody it is anybody that you see now that you now go and meet, or it is the person that accepts you after you have spoken to hundreds of persons. But because they look at you and did not see any value, say this guy no get anything. So you just go and look for anybody. And if you just pick anybody, not because that is the person you want, but because that is the person your life can, your work, or who you are can afford, that can accept you for who you are. That can affect for who you are. So you will not, it will affect the type of person you can point to and say, I want you. And somehow, let me tell you, most of the time, if you work well and you can afford that type of life, it's going to be very easier to be able to pick and say, this is the person, and they will answer you. But if you are still battling with, you want life, but you don't want work, you don't want to do the work, what you will notice is it is the person that meet up with your level. If eventually you now wake up one day to work and you now can afford that life, you will resent the wife that you marry. In your mind, you'll be telling yourself that, if not that time, that's why I pick you. I will not have picked you. There are people, and that is the worst thing that can happen for a brother to still be married and be thinking that, if not for this is the person I will have married. Oh, that will not be nice. So that's my own. Oh. Please let the scale tilt towards more work for you, that you already have life that is natural. Sleep, wake up, eat, go to this thing, wear the cloth. It does not have to be flamboyant, for the growth that you want, to be able to fuel the life that you really, really want. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Um, before we uh, bring the meeting to close, I don't know anyone that want to make a comment or um, add to it, or just raise a question. Is there anybody? Okay. Uh, okay. So far, um, our speaker has been able to demystify the complexity of the work balance, and then there's this thing that there's this major light while he was talking about a car with a plate number and with identity, I it's something that that really do it for me. As when you said work brings out our identity, it helps us to fuel our purpose. Uh, Recognizing the importance of plate number for government or official. So that there are times that when you see this plate number, we have known the kind of person the person is. So also our work sometimes. So when people see us, just as you answer some question now that the kind of things you put your life to, that is the kind of activity or work you are doing, will determine the kind of people you will attract. You determine the kind of people you attract, and they will determine the kind of position they will also place you also. That is the maybe caliber, because normally you can't see a person with a government maybe ID or with a government official car and then maybe in a function and then rate the person low. No. So it explains that such person is 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 an high-ended individual or a high-level personality. And then another thing is that he made mention of is that identification should not define uh, our personal value. Our personal value. That is work. Work should not trivialize some important aspects of our relationship. Let me say this: there was a time earlier this year that I had the opportunity to uh, seek for a job, and I was given the offer, but the job schedule did not like it doesn't it's not in tandem with my value. It's not in tandem with my value. That is a place for growth, room for maybe to communicate. The job schedule was just that coming to office from morning to evening. There's no personal thing. Actually, I was also in the need of that job at that moment because the one I was in wasn't paying well. It wasn't. It wasn't foiling the purpose. Yes, it wasn't foiling the purpose I want. And then this one also, you can't also foil my purpose because I also need to develop. So I think that's how it is. So when we work, it shouldn't define our value. Uh, yes, you made mention of the transition from work roles to charitable initiative for big girls and Dangote. That is the we don't see today now. That's how it is. We don't see Bill Gates as a most people that are coming of age today don't really see Bill Gates as maybe high-end maybe technology person like that. But most of them see it as a charitable person, a philanthropist. Due to what? Due to his foundations, the Bill Gates Melinda Foundation. So and we know how much is coming from that. So and how is he able to achieve that is that through works, through works. So it doesn't. He has that work to fulfill his work, his role. That is in life, his purpose in life. So it is something that make him to transit to fuel his purpose in life. And then we should explore balance and imbalance in professional journey for a better understanding of contribution in the society. We should explore balance and imbalance in professional journey. Uh, while he was talking, made up of integration and invasion. Integration and invasion. That is, there's a way we can integrate our work into life and then our life into work. Our life into work. And then there are times that when we are trying to do this, invasion comes in. Invasion comes in. Now, how do invasion comes in is when we don't set boundaries, when we can't identify boundaries. So, in creating balance, definitely there should be boundary, there should be priorities. There should be priorities. Um, and then, hello, are you there?
Yeah, with you.
Hello?
You know, the time is we are way behind schedule.
Um, Thank you so much, sir, and thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate this. Okay, and then our next this thing, our next meeting will be coming up on June second Saturday of June, second Saturday of June. So we'll be diving further into more topic. Sir, Professor
Yes,
Johnson.
thank you so much. God bless you. Once again, we appreciate our guest speaker. God bless you. We do not. I really wish we can pay you for your services, but we know that a time is going to come. We'll be able to do much more. We'll be able to accumulate all the base and pay at once because the value we get is seriously unquantifiable. And I mean, one thing we are doing, we all know we are sowing seeds into lives, and there'll be all manners of rewards, financial, plus everything else. But it is sowing time, and we know definitely we are going to reap a great harvest. We are very glad to have you and your beautiful wife in our group, and we are very happy to particularly have her because it's a rare occurrence to have ladies. And though sometimes we even say ladies are welcome, but they still run away. I don't know, maybe the energy, maybe they're afraid of plenty men also. I don't know. Yeah, but before we sign out, I just want to add a bit more to the question David asked about, especially the statement that life just happens. Well, I think I understand it in the aspect that, there are some routines in life that you cannot do without. That's okay. But one thing I always push is that you can decide how life happens to you, and of course that has also been addressed in the answer, right? Like, the kind of when our guest speaker was talking about people that become rich and they're looking for new wives, it makes me remember many politicians. By the time they get to those high offices, they can no longer now take their wives along because they were not people of vision to start with. I mean, now, no, there's nothing I'm going to become that I will need a new wife. I don't know what I will need that for, right? Because even when I had no form, I knew the kind of places I wanted to have access to, and I knew the kind of wife that will fit that. So you don't want to become rich tomorrow and then your wife cannot fit purpose. So that's why right now you want to be a person of vision, and there's a way you also create the kind of life that happens to you, right? Part of it is, as a Christian, you can decree and declare the kind of things you want to see. I'm a very big advocate of that. Part of it is pregnancy, right? Like, we read a book, my wife and I, in photo, that pregnancy is not a disease. So you don't have to spit. You don't have your leg doesn't have to swell. It doesn't mean that if you spit or your leg swells, you are a sinner or you are an unbeliever. No, that's not the idea. But I mean, if you can enjoy that additional benefit to your salvation, that yes, God, pregnancy is not a disease. I not go. I will not, my legs do not swell. Oh. I will not spit or I will not vomit. And sincerely, we've had 2 children, and those 2 times, none of those things happened. Just because we decided. And we also go as far as saying things like, oh, they said when children are teething, they begin to have high temperature and they begin to stool and all that, or they fall sick and blah blah. So we intentionally take those things and we are like, God, this is what the biology says, but we have a life that is way higher than biology. And because of this life, this is how we want our own lives to be. So there's in that regard, so you can take charge of your life, that so that before you go to a place, you're already sowing a seed ahead. So by the time the life now comes, it's now unveiling like, oh, life is so soft for this person. No, it is because you have intentionally created the way you want your life to be. So that I will not start another seminar. Let me just stop at this point. Thank you for everyone who has been here all the way. Thank you once again, our guest speaker, and Olusola Opaleye, and your dear wife, Janet Olusola. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joel Hezekiah. Thank you, Israel, our moderator. We are very pleased to Thank you for always supporting. Thank you, our programs lead, Ayodeji Sunday Timileyin. Thank you so much. Our strategy lead was in the house before, and I think he left. David Aigbodion, of everybody here, I think you're my latest friend, and thank God we've been able to do so much within a very short time. Like, the report I said you should be given to just to keep you accountable, but it's not about the results, it's about you really doing the job. So if you're so I'm very glad that you're making a lot of progress, whether you give reports or not, because I know how busy one can be. Our social lead, I mean, I don't know how to thank you. I don't know, like your activities, your activeness have been such a blessing. That's Mark Bibankole. God bless you. And thank you for your commitments. And the sky is just your stepping stone, it's not your limit. So once again, see you in June as we explore another area of growth, another area of development. God bless you, everybody. See you next time. Bye. So we'll continue our discussions in the groups. God bless you.